Well, hello there, welcome back to another Trainer Clizzard video. Today we have another deck for y'all, Mamoswine EX. Now, the thing is, sometimes I make decks and like, I have an idea and I make the deck and then I play the deck and then I see other people playing the deck and I'm like, wait a minute, did I just like, obviously not trailblazing the idea, but you know, I have my own idea and I make the idea and it turns out to actually be like a reasonable deck. This is an example of one of the Mamoswine EX here. Just to give a little background, so Mamoswine is the main card in this deck is from Journey Together, right? From Journey Together, and it's a stage 2 fighting Pokemon. Now, the reason why I made this deck in the first place wasn't because I was excited about Mamoswine. So just take notice, I'm using like Pidgeotto, Garganacl, I'm using like, 7 fire energies. Let me give you some background. You see this deck list, and I'm running Pidgeotto, Garganacl, and it's very similar. The reason why I made that Mamoswine EX deck was because I had this idea for a Cynthia deck. So Cynthia is gonna get a lot of support. At least, like, when I mean Cynthia, I mean like Cynthia's Garchomp, Cynthia's Roserade, Cynthia's Spiritomb. Cards like those are gonna be printed in Destined Rivals at the end of May. And when I saw the Cynthia stuff, I wanted to make a deck revolving around Garchomp. And then I came up with a deck. You see, this deck has 61 cards, and so I'm still working on it. But as you see here, Garchomp is going to be a stage 2, and I'm running Pidgeotto because I want to run, Pidgeotto on stage 2 deck. I'm also running I say Garganacl, but I think it's Garganacl. I'm running this card because Cynthia also needs energy ramp. And then I'm running 7 fighting energy. So it's very, very similar in terms of like Pokemon count and energy count to the Cynthia deck. Cynthia kind of revolves around tools and items, so I'm running more Arvins. And in my Mamoswine deck, I'm actually not running any Arvins. But let's just get to this deck. So the main thing is Mamoswine. Its ability searches for Pokemon. And so when you have Mamoswine set up, you can search for more Pokemon. And so it's very easy to go wide and go big. So you can like get a lot of Pokemon on your bench, and then you can evolve those Pokemon because you just have so much Pokemon search power. And Rumbling March here does 180, and then it does 40 more for each stage 2 on Pokemon on your bench. So it excludes itself on the active, but it counts for each of your bench Pokemon. And it takes 2 fighting energies, alright? So that's very important because you can't use Crispin to energy ramp this Pokemon. So you have to think of another way. If you want to power up in one singular turn, you have to figure out another way of doing that. In which that's where the Garganacl comes in. So again, it's stage 2. So it's going to buff Mamoswine's attack. And then you can attach a basic fight energy from your discard into one of your Pokemon, and it heals 30. The healing 30 is kind of relevant against Dragapult, but at the end of the day, it's for the energy ramp. And of course, because Mamoswine is stage 2, you'll want to run the best stage 2 in the game, currently in my opinion, which is PidGYATT EX. Basically, its ability is Quick Search. It's once per turn. So multiple times I have built more than one Pidgeotto on my board just to increase Mamoswine's damage and to have more options just in case a Pidgeotto dies. But you can only use Quick Search once, and Mamoswine you can use the Mammoth Hauler multiple times. But basically, Pidgeotto searches for anything. That's going to be super important. Basically, your Pidgeotto helps you set up your Mamoswine Garganacls. The ratios that I'm running is very important. I'm running basically a like 2 of the base, or like for every 2 of the basic and stage 2, I'm running 1 of the stage 1s. So I'm running. It's really important to get the Swinubs and the Mamoswines out because that's your main attacker. And so I run 4 and 4, and then 2 Piloswines. And for the Pidgey, because Pidgeot's super important to get out, I actually run 3 Pidgeys. So 3 Pidgeys, 1 Pidgeotto, and 1 Pidgeot. And then same thing, then with the Garganacl, I only run 2 Naclis, and 1 Naclstack. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what Naclstack, what Piloswines you run, and what Pidgeotto you run. You'll probably want to run the free retreat cost Pidgeotto. And then the Naclstack, you can run whichever ones you want. Technically, this Naclstack can, it can do like 180 damage if you hit your tails. But the thing is, these cards aren't really going to be attacking. I will get to more information in the coming later. But I run 3 Pidgeotto and 4 Swinubs. These both use Call for Family, and their Call for Family gets 2 basic Pokemon. And so if you have Swinub and you have your Pidgeys, you can go even wider. Basically, this acts as like a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. And that's why I run 3 Pidgeys. Not only because I want to make sure I get my Pidgeotto up, but because it can Call for Family. And also, if you evolve it to a Pidgeotto or a Pidgeotto, it has a free retreat cost. And so Pidgey is like my favorite Pokemon to get in my starting hand, so that I can play it, and then if I evolve it in future turns, I can retreat for free. But also Call for Family is really good, strong too. For trainers, we're running 4 Ultra Balls. We want to make sure we get our evolution Pokemon, and Ultra Ball is a good way of doing that. We also want to discard energies to our discard pile so that we can get Garganacl's ability up. We've run 4 rare candies, of course, because we want to get those stage 2s out. I'm running 1 switch because Mamoswine's retreat cost is a whopping 4, and you only run 7 energies. It's very hard to retreat from just energies. And of course, Garganacl also has a 4 retreat cost. And so your 1 switch ensures that you can switch your Pokemon out. For Buddy-Buddy Poffins, this is pretty self-explanatory. You want to get your basics out. You want to go wide. You want to go very, very wide. I'm playing 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffins. Even though we have Call for Family, we want to still go wide with the Buddy-Buddy Poffins. And Buddy-Buddy Poffin hits all our basics in this deck. We run 1 Grand Tree. Grand Tree is super important because that's how we can get our Pidgeots and our Mamoswines turn 1. Generally speaking, you want Grand Tree. When you play it, you want to use it, right? You don't just want to play the card and then not use it because your opponent can discard the stadium. So every time you play Grand Tree, you want to try to get value out of it. Sometimes you might only get value from it one time. You might only evolve 1 Pidgey into Pidgeotto into Pidgeotto. But that's enough to kind of set yourself up for a victory. Also, Grand Tree, when you run Grand Tree, you have to pay, at least when it comes to TCG Live, you need to make sure that your Naclstack, your Pidgeotto, and your Piloswine are not in your prize cards. Because if they're in your prize cards, then you can't. The thing about Grand Tree on TCG Live is that you have to pick your target first. You have to pick Pidgey, you have to pick Swinub. And if you don't have the stage 1 in your deck, then it fails. I think if you play it in real life, then you can choose. You can like look in your deck and then choose what you want to evolve. But in TCG Live, you have to pick your target first. And that's very important. And so having deck knowledge, like using your Nest Balls, using your Buddy-Buddy Poffins, your Ultra Balls, your Colress, Tenacity, your Artazons, these cards will give you an opportunity to look into your deck to see if you have your stage 1s, which is the main thing you want to look for when you are paying attention to your prizes. Now, the spicy sauce that I'm running, that I don't think people are running in this deck, but this is my version. I'm running 4 Kofus. The reason why I'm running 4 Kofus is because this deck has a lot of like rare candies, Ultra Balls, a lot of cards that you can hit. And so it's important drawing 4 cards and putting 2 back to the bottom of your deck is really strong, in the sense that you can kind of like reshuffle your hand and make it more consistent. Kofu also gives you an opportunity to shuffle in your stage 1s. You can shuffle in your Naclstack, your Piloswine, or your Pidgeotto, so that your Grand Tree becomes online. Alright? Kofu, what it also does is you can search for random Pokemon. So you can use, like mid to late game, you can use Mamoswine. You can search for a bunch of Pokemon that you might not be using, like extra Swinubs, extra Mamoswines, extra, Naclis. And then you can use Kofus to put them back into your deck. So you can have a big hand and then put those cards back into your deck to draw extra cards. Let's say you're searching for energies, or you don't have your Pidgeot set up. So I'm running 4 Kofus, which is a lot. This is the card that I don't think people are running. People are probably running Arvins with evolutions, with hot air balloons. So Arvin searches Arvin. I don't know how to spell Arvin. Arvin searches for items. So you can set up your Buddy-Buddy Poffin, your rare candies, but it also searches for tools, and so you can get your evolution, so you can evolve your Pidgeys and Naclstacks. The thing I don't like about evolution is that kind of anti-synergy was Grand Tree, because if you evolution, then you have less Grand Tree value, right? Because the Grand Tree is basic to stage 2. And if you use evolutions, you're lowering your amount of stage 1s in your deck, and so your Grand Tree doesn't get a lot of value. So that's my kind of reasoning. I don't like evolution that much. But with Arvin, you can also search for your big air balloon, which it makes it so that your Mamoswine and your Garganacl have free retreat, which might be very important if you're getting boss's orders. If stuff like that is going on, that big air balloon will be really useful there. I'm just showing you cards that you might want to consider instead of my deck. And then of course the chest plate, the rock chest plate makes it so that your Mamoswine takes 30 less damage. It already has 240 HP, and so taking 30 less damage is really strong, makes it a lot bulkier. I'm running 3 Ionos because you're running PidGYATT, and because this deck is a little bit slower. You want to run 3 Ionos so that late game you can Iono your opponent's hand into your deck and make them draw fewer cards. Iono is kind of like your only way of interacting with your opponent. I mean, you have boss orders as well, but Iono is a way of interacting with your opponent and making their hand weaker. Also, early game Iono can, draw you more cards into your hand. It can also shuffle cards back, or it puts cards to the bottom of your deck like Kofu. So again, Iono, what it could do is it can send your stage 1s back into your deck so that you can Grand Tree your basics. And so Iono is really good there. I'm running 1 Kieran. This card is super important is because I'm running 1 switch and 1 Kieran. So he acts as a switch if I need it. But he also does 30 extra damage, he can also make me do 30 extra damage to my opponent's active EX. Sometimes it might be hard to stack up stage 2s on my bench, and so being able to perhaps do an extra 30 on top of my opponent's Pokemon might be different between like knocking out a Dragapult or not. And of course, if you get Bedewed, if they Bedewed you and a boss's orders you, you have Kieran, who is not a trainer but a supporter that can switch out your Pokemon. And so if you're getting Bedewed locked, which is scary with this deck because you are weak to grass. If you get Bedewed locked, then Kieran is a card that you can use to switch. And of course, Kieran, you can search for PidGYATT as well. I run 1 Night Stretcher just in case you discard something with Ultra Ball you want to get back. You want to get energy back. You want to get a basic or a stage 1 back. Do shuffle to Kofu and then Grand Tree. A lot of things you can do with the Night Stretcher. Colress Tenacity is a very important card in this deck. Because you only run 7 energies, you have no way of searching for those energies. So Colress Tenacity gives you an opportunity to search for an energy and also search for your Grand Tree / Artazon. Oftentimes, I see myself getting Colress Tenacity turn 2. If I can search it off with a PidGYATT, I'll use it. I'll use the PidGYATT to get Colress Tenacity so I can get an extra energy and get Grand Tree, evolve Mamoswine. And then if I attach an energy last turn to a Swinub, then I can start attacking with that Mamoswine, right? So I think Colress Tenacity is very important. Super Raw is very important. If they knock out your PidGYATT early, or if you're running low on Pokemon, then you can get them back into your deck. Generally speaking, you don't want to get you're not gonna get your energies back into your deck because your Garganacl can, energy ramp from the discard. But you might want to put some energies back. I'm running 3 Nest Balls. So again, Nest Ball is worse than Buddy-Buddy Poffin because Buddy-Buddy Poffin gets you 2 Pokemon with this deck, while Nest Ball only gets you 1. I'm running 3 because again, it's really important to get your basic Pokemon out. That being said, though, 7 of my basic Pokemon can use Call for Family, and so it's not super important to have 4 Nest Balls. And of course, we have Artazon, which basically acts as a Nest Ball once per turn. You just want another supporter or another stadium. You are running 2 stadium search cards, so why not run 2 stadiums? And of course, it's always good to counter your opponent's, Area 0 Underdepths or whatever, Levencia, whatever helps them. It's good to just destroy it with your Artazon. And of course, we run 2 boxes orders. 2 for this deck with no counter catcher, no prime catcher, no pal pad. So these are your only boxes orders. These are your only ways you can get your opponent's Pokemon up. I find running 2 is good enough because you can search it with Pidgeotto. But 2 might be too little. I can see increasing that number. But at the end of the day, your Mamoswine can one-shot basically anything. You know, you have to know like the amount of damage it does. So if you have no stage 2s, it does 180. If you have like 1 stage 2, it does 220, and then 260, and then 300, and then 340, and then 380. So it can potentially do 380 damage, but you have to know like the amount of cards you need. So 1 stage 2 is enough to knock out like Ogerpons, Pheasantippides, Mews, stuff like that. 2 stage 2s is enough to knock out, for example, Goldengos. 3 stage 2s is enough to knock out like a lot of stuff. 3 stage 2s and a Kieran is enough to knock out a Dragapult. But you need 4 stage 2s to basically knock out anything. And then 5 stage 2s if you want to knock out a Mamoswine with a chest plate on it, if you're playing the mirror match. And then 7 energies. I think 7 energies is important in this particular deck, just because you don't want too many energies, because you do have the energy recycled with the Garganacl, but you don't want too little energies, because if you don't have any energies, then you might not be able to power up your Mamoswine quickly. You might need to start searching for a lot of them, which would suck. I already mentioned the Arven idea. A lot of people are running Luxray, which I kind of like the idea of. So basically, if you have less prize, you can put this card on your bench. It's a stage 2, so basically all it does is it powers up your Mamoswine. What it also does, it offers a way for you to knock out like Mimikyus, and also, yeah, so a way for you to knock out Mimikyus, because this deck is all Pokemon with abilities and Pokemon EXs, or because Mamoswine is your main attacker, you're gonna have a hard time against Mimikyu, which can be damaged by EX Pokemon, and you also have a hard time against Cornerstone Ogerpon. So Cornerstone Ogerpon cannot be damaged by Pokemon with abilities, and because all your Pokemon basically have abilities, Cornerstone becomes a very hard Pokemon to get rid of. However, if you run, I don't know how to spell this Pokemon, its name, Quacks, I probably don't have this Pokemon. Oh gosh, I don't know how to spell it, but it's the stage 2 Quaxaval. Yes, if you run this Pokemon, so once again it's another stage 2, but it doesn't have any abilities. And so this Pokemon, Quaxaval, can get rid of the Cornerstones, because with a water energy and another energy, you can attach 2. And then you can return the energies back into your hand. So that's a way you can get rid of Cornerstone. There's also a Kling Clang, emergency rotation. So if your opponent has a stage 2, you can put this Pokemon on your bench. So again, another opportunity for you to get energies, or I'm sorry, another opportunity for you to get a stage 2 on your bench. This is really good in my opinion. I like this more than Luxray simply because when you play against stage 2 Pokemon, so for example Dragapult or Charizard, those are the matchups where you need more damage, and those are the matchups where like another stage 2 on your bench would help. And also Hyper Ray does get over Mimikyu here, and it discards all energies from this Pokemon, but your Garganacl can take it back. People also would like to run Blaziken EX here. Blaziken EX, very similar to Garganacl, but it puts any energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon. So if you're running the Quaxaval, if you're running the Luxray, then Blaziken becomes valuable because you can power up those Pokemon from your discard. And also this Pokemon can do damage too, like 200 damage with 2 energies is very strong as well. So a lot of builds try to use Blaziken as well, simply because you have the option of doing more energies. So my build obviously is very weak against Mimikyu, is very weak against Cornerstone Ogerpon. That being said, I just like this version. This is the version I came up with before I knew about the other versions, because there's someone at my local who also plays this deck, and he kind of taught me those cards, or taught me the various versions. So yeah, this deck has a hard matchup against like Cornerstone, Mimikyu, you know, Gardevoir EX might have a Mimikyu, Terra Box might have a Cornerstone. This deck is also very weak against Festival Ground decks, because Festival Ground decks use Dipplin. And Dipplin just absolutely wrecks you because you are weak to grass. So Dipplins just wreck you. Another card that wrecks you is just Teal Mask Ogerpon. Again, this Pokemon, as long as it can attack, basically, it'll always do enough damage to one-shot your Mamoswine, because your Mamoswine is going to have energies attached to it. And so, you know, a fair bit of weaknesses to this deck. But this deck is, it does have a lot of power to it. It does have a high damage output. And so I'm not sure how long the video has been, but let's try to play some games. That's not the deck I want to play. Alright, well, I'm going to concede against this guy because this is not the deck I wanted to play. I don't really care about my rating. We'll just concede to this guy. Super Sugar, you get a free win here. I forgot to change my deck. Yeah, as you see here, I have a lot of decks, but I just like put in a bunch of code cards, and so I have a bunch of points. And so we're kind of cooking with all these points we have, and I can do more deck showcases. The reason why I'm doing this deck showcase online instead of like IRL is because I unsleeved all my Mamoswine cards. So I unsleeved the deck. So I would normally show you guys the cards in person, but because I don't have, or like I unsleeved the deck, I'm just gonna play it online. But hopefully the next showcase, I'll go ahead and, you know, do it IRL, and then maybe at the end of that video I'll put in some battles here. But anyways, this person let me go first. I didn't draw any basic Pokemon. This deck only runs like 9 basic Pokemon. Your 4 Swinubs, your 3 Pidgeys, and your 2 Naclis. So this deck doesn't run a lot of... This deck really doesn't run a lot of basics. And so you might be mulliganing a little bit here. This deck also likes to go first because you want to evolve first. So it's very important to go first so that you can evolve first. I am in danger because my opponent might have exhaustion here. So I might just get wrecked. But this is a pretty good hand if my opponent can't knock out my Pokemon turn 1. The reason why is I can Colress Tenacity next turn. Oh, I should have checked my deck if I had I should have checked my deck to see what stage 1s I had. But anyways, this is really good is because if I have everything in my deck, I can Colress Tenacity, a Fighting Energy, and a Grand Tree. I can Grand Tree the Pidgey, and with the Pidgey, I can search for... I can search for... I guess... Okay, yeah, it's a little bit difficult. I can search for maybe a... I don't have a Rare Candy or a Mamoswine, and so I can build the Pidgeotto, but then after that, I might be a little bit slow with what I do next. Unfortunately, my opponent seems to be having a good amount of stuff. If they have a Hop Exhaustion, they Nest Balled the Latios, which leads me to believe they already have a Hop Exhaustion. No, they're just going to hammer in my Pidgey. Okay, so that's not bad. Interesting. Knowing Archelodon has 300 HP, I need 3 stage 3s on my bench. Unfortunately, we didn't really get what we wanted here. So let me think what I want to do. I could Iono because Colress Tenacity doesn't really do much. I will get my Grand Tree. And Grand Tree... Oh, I should have checked if I have a stage 1. Okay, well, I didn't check. So hopefully Pidgeotto is not in my... Oh, it lets me choose. Oh, they must have fixed it. Oh my god, thank goodness I had both of them in my deck. They must have fixed it. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a Mamoswine or a I don't have a Mamoswine or a rare candy in my hand, so we're gonna have to Buddy-Buddy Poffin here. And then we're gonna use the Buddy-Buddy Poffin to get some. I'm gonna get a Nacli and a Swinub. It's gonna be hard for them to Artazon knock out my Pidgeotto here. We're gonna put another energy. I'm gonna put this energy on the Swinub just because I want to split up the Swinub energies. And then we're gonna retreat because we don't want our Pidgeotto to get damaged. And then we're gonna call for family here. I totally forgot I had that call for family. We're gonna get another Pidgey and another Swinub here. And that's our turn. So we're playing patient here because if my opponent starts knocking out my Pokemon, it's okay. Because my deck, the Mamoswines are going to have very high HP. And so it's going to be hard for my opponent to kind of get rid of the Pokemon. He's going to Grand Cheer a Charizard, which means that he's not going to get that ability. He already played an energy for a turn, which means he can't attack. So that was a big oopsies, in my opinion. That was a big oopsies. He should have not done that. Because now he doesn't have enough energies to attack me. And I could potentially dunk on him next turn. We'll see what I get next turn. But I can potentially set up 2 stage 2s on my bench, depending on what I get here. Buddy-Buddy Poffin is not very good. Let's Grand Tree here. We're going to Grand Tree the Swine up here. Into Piloswine. And then, of course, I'm going to have the Mamoswine here. So here's very important. What I'm going to do is I am going to attach an energy. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to Iono. I want to dig for rare candies before I search for a rare candy and before I search with my Mamoswine. So I'm going to do the Iono here. Sure, it might get my opponent a new hand, but he doesn't, or he or she doesn't have a, they don't have a Drulodon to evolve next turn. So next turn, they're going to have a hard time doing damage. And we hit the nuts. We hit the absolute nuts here. So I'm going to evolve the Mamoswine with the rare candy. With one of the Mamoswines, we're going to search for a Garganacl or Garganacl. Do we have another Piloswine in our deck? We don't have another Piloswine in our deck. So honestly, I'm not going to search for the Garganacl. I'm going to search for the Mamoswine because next turn I can use Grand Tree on the Nacli. So this is kind of a better way of doing it. Unfortunately, oh wait. I played that last turn, so I can't evolve it. Never mind. I'm like, oh, I played that this turn, so I can't evolve it. They gave up because I'm a genius. Yeah, that misplay with the... I mean, it wouldn't have mattered because it seemed like it would have gone more bench, or I would have been able to one-shot the Artazon. But there we go. That's just a showcase of kind of how that deck works. I kind of hit the nuts with the Iono, admittedly, because I also had to search with Pidgeotto that turn. So that was pretty good. Yeah, that was a really good Iono, and they just decided to give up. So we take that. I want to go first, so let's go. I'm gonna try to include this in the video so that we have more games in the video, but oh, this is tragic, dude. Oh, so tragic. Alright, we're gonna do the Pidgeotto. I mean, there's still hope. There's still hope here. Unfortunately, they have Pheasantipity, which just wrecks my plan. Okay, great. Rare candy, that works, I think. We're gonna Mazagoza here. I have an idea. If we hit heads here... Okay, I have an idea. Alright. We're gonna hit the Mamoswine. We're gonna evolve this. We're gonna hit the rare candy on the Mamoswine. We're gonna go ahead and use Mamoswine to search for a Pokemon. We're gonna search for Garganacl. We're gonna check if we have a Piloswine. We do have a Piloswine. Okay. We're going to evolve that guy. We're going to use Quick Search. We're going to Quick Search Grand Tree. Yes, it does. I misplayed. I should have Quick Search Colress Tenacity. I don't deserve to win. I don't deserve to win. Let's just go to the next game. Let's just go to the next game. Oh, the pain, guys. The pain. These last 3 games, I won I won the Zoroark game, but like it doesn't even feel good anymore because like I lost the recording. I'm wasting like an hour just to record another game when I could. If I just had this, I had the storage. I just didn't delete the videos. Oh, it's tragic, guys. And now I'm gonna go second for the first time, and oh my gosh, it's just. I'm just so, it's just so tragic, dude. It's just so tragic. And I don't even get a basic Pokemon. Oh, so tragic. I had the perfect video all set up. The perfect video was all set up. Alright, it's the Dragapult rematch. Again, I lost the last one miserably because they itchy pollen me to death. They can't itchy pollen me here because they're going first. So technically I can use items next turn, but the turn following, if they have itchy pollen, then it's over. Judging by how they didn't get a Bidoof out, I think they're using the Xatu build, obviously, because they have a Natu. So this is a more aggressive version than the one I played. Again, I'm probably not going to include the video that I played because that game was just too long. But okay, let's do some stuff here. We're going to get some stuff out. We're going to get some stuff out. We're going to get this Pidgey. We're going to Kofu away this boss's order and Swinub. We need energies here. We got an energy. We got another Buddy-Buddy Poffin. The reason why I wanted the energy was so that I can call for family. I could use Buddy-Buddy Poffin, but I have the energy here, so why not just call for family? We're going to get another Pidgey. We're going to get another Swinub. Okay. We have Ultra Ball. Now, the plan is to Ultra Ball a Mamoswine, Rare Candy into Mamoswine, and then Mamoswine search for PidGYATT. Rare Candy PidGYATT, search for Grand Tree, or search, not Grand Tree, search for Colress Tenacity. And then with Colress Tenacity, it does help them get their Dragapults up, but that's okay. With Grand Tree, we're gonna go ahead and Grand Tree maybe a Pidgey, so that we don't get a Dragapulted. And then we attach the energy to the Swinub, and then we swing in. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. And then the following turn, we can like Mamoswine a Garganacl or something. Okay. I have the line in my head. The lines are there. Let's just hope that we don't get dunked on somehow. They are setting up a lot of GPs and Dragapults. So this Grand Tree only works on stage 1s. I'm sorry, they only work on basics. So they can Grand Tree the Xatu, they can Grand Tree the GP. But they can't get Dragapults from these Draclokes. Okay, so they end their turn. So I'm going to be ahead here a little bit. Oh, we're cooking. We don't even need to Ultra Ball Mamoswine. Let's do this. Let's do that. Remember to play. We're not going to search for Grand Tree. We're going to search for Colress Tenacity. So we're going to get our Pidgeotto. And then we're going to Rare Candy into this guy. And then we're going to check if we have a Piloswine while we do this. We do. I'm going to get the Colress Tenacity. We're going to use the Colress Tenacity. Do I even Grand Tree, guys? Do I even Grand Tree? Do I even give them the satisfaction of evolving their Pokemon? Because what does Grand Tree do right now? It gets me another Mamoswine, which I can evolve. You know, the Grand Tree might not even be good at the moment. I might not even Grand Tree. I have it in my back pocket, but honestly, it doesn't even seem good right now. Honestly, yeah, Grand Tree helps them more than it. You know what? We're just going to Rumbling March. Sure, they can counter catcher, they can, you know, I don't think the Grand Tree is good at the moment. I don't think it's good at the moment. I'm going to save it, because I can always use it later. But it's okay to get with the Pidgeot because the Colress Tenacity, I needed that energy anyway. So the energy was always going to be useful. Boss Order would have been useless, right? Because I wouldn't have had energy to attack. So I think the Colress Tenacity was good there just to get the Grand Prix. And then we'll see what happens next. Again, I want to go wide. We're going to target that Serendipity for sure. I'm going to go ahead and probably search for a a boss order. We can knock that out with just the Pidgeot and Mamoswine. This person, honestly, even though they got like, you know, their Dracloaks and stuff, they didn't really have a good of a start. So if I win this game, it honestly doesn't even feel that impressive. But it is Dragapult, so you never know what can happen with Dragapult. They're gonna counter catcher, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to search for a switch here. Well, is there a way I can power this Pokemon up? Probably not. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to search for a switch here, which is okay. I'll just knock out the Natu and get the more serendipity value, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Other than Vessel. Yeah, if I would have given them Grand Tree, they could have gone Xatu, and then they could have attacked the Psychic Energy and draw 2 cards, right? So it's just too... It just doesn't help them... It doesn't help me as much as it helps them. So we're going to chill a little bit here. Unfortunately, the counter catcher does kind of suck, but it's kind of fine. Unfair Stamp. Again, that's kind of still fine because we have Pidgeot. Is Night Stretcher good? No, Night Stretcher is useless. Nest Ball is useless. Again, yeah, we're just searching for that switch. Hopefully they don't have another counter catcher. I know some decks can be very aggressive with the counter catchers. Hopefully they don't have too many. But yeah, we'll see. They already used one, so I mean, they're gonna get their Xatu out now. They're going to get their Dragapult out now. But again, no energies. Oh, Fire Energy. They could get it powered up right now if they had a Psychic Energy. Professor Turo. They're going to get their Serendipity up. Okay, I guess to protect it. Okay, well, I guess I couldn't even boss order what I wanted to anyways. I drew Grand Tree. Honestly, Grand Tree is better for me at this point. So we're going to Grand Tree it up. We're going to Grand Tree it up. We are going to get multiple Pokemon here. Do I want to Swinub this? It doesn't really matter, honestly. A Mamoswine here. And then we are going to search for a Switch. Or a Kieran. Hopefully we have Switch. We don't have another Piloswine, so that's rough. We do have both Kieran and Switch, so we can do both of them if we need to. We're going to switch this guy. And then we're going to search for a Garganacl and a Pidgeotto. I saw we had a Pidgeotto. So we'll just go ahead and do the Pidgeotto here. Just to get them evolved, all ready to go. Also, it's good to get the Pidgeotto up. So now Pidgey is out of Dragapult range. And we'll take the Xatu knockout. Sure, they can get a Dracloak from that GP. That's really all they can do. Another Dragapult wouldn't be that good. I gave them a Dracloak essentially, but it gave me a Mamoswine, so I can get a Garganacl and a Pidgeotto. So that sense, it was more worth it. We have a Fighting Energy, which is good, because that means that we can power up another Mamoswine. For example, if they knock out this Mamoswine, which I doubt they will. Unfortunately, they're gonna get a lot of Serendipity value going forward. But that being said, if I keep knocking out these Dragapults, which I need one more Stage 2 Pokemon, which should be easy to get, you know, rare candy, and then search for any Pokemon, so something like that, yeah. Or if they knock this out, I can Night Stretcher the Piloswine, and then, you know, perhaps Kofu it into my deck, and then Grand Tree or something like that, something weird. But yeah, we'll see what's going on. Because, again, they're going to have a hard time knocking out my Mamoswine in one shot. They don't even have a Psychic Energy, even. They don't even have a Psychic Energy, so... I don't know their energy count with their deck. I mean, evolving into Dragapult is not always the best idea. Because you'd really want that Dracloak for next turn. Unless they're afraid I'm going to Iono them or something, which I probably won't. Okay, they have enough energy, so... They're going to start doing damage. Oh, they have Iono in their hand, so they just want to get the Dragapult out. Okay. Let's see if it's a better hand. I mean, not necessarily better. But I do have like the Super Rod, which is nice. De-evolution? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Are they gonna de-evolution me? I'm not sure how much that... I mean, it matters, but... Yeah, okay. Okay, that's okay. I can't one-shot... Can I one-shot the Dragapult? I'm gonna have a hard time one-shotting it. So I can do that and that. I'm gonna Kofu. How much rare candies have I used so far? I've used 2. It's gonna be hard to get it. I'm gonna Kofu both of these back into the deck, I believe. So I'm gonna Kofu value, baby. Kofu goes into the deck. Hopefully we draw stuff. Okay, we're gonna Grand Tree a Pidgeotto. Again, I don't do enough damage to knock him out. Can I get energy on this guy? No, I can't. I'm just thinking what my final play is. So if I search for rare candy, I can do damage, right? If I search for Kieran, I don't have enough. Yeah, I don't even have energy on my discard because I can retreat this and then move this up, but I don't have enough energy. Yeah, I think it's just the rare candy here. I think that's it. That's my last rare candy, so I'm gonna have a hard time building up enough damage. So I have Kieran, which is fine. I don't think searching for Pokemon matter at this point, but it does thin out my deck, so I'm just gonna search for some Pokemon here. Good. Unfortunately, I ran out of rare candy, so yeah, my Mamoswine does a one-shot, so I need the Kieran here. I don't have him, but yeah, more energies would have been nice there, but that's all I can really do. Their Phantom Dive does one-shot my Pidgey now. So that's a thing that happens. But again, they didn't really... I mean, they got some rare candies out of me, which sucks. So now I can't like one-shot the Dragapult. But again, I do have the Kieran that can be used. And at the end of the day, this Dragapult still only has like no energy attached to it. Because they attach an energy to this Dracloak, so they must have like evolved that into Dragapult, I suppose. So yeah, they're probably gonna get their last Dragapult and put it here. So, but they still need a fire energy, which I guess they could still have like a... Oh, no, they use unfair stamp, so they can't Sparkling Crystal. Oh, they have that powered up. Okay. So, yeah, we'll see. They're probably gonna split the Pidgey and the Swinub. But I can't evolve the Swinub, unfortunately. So they're gonna knock both of these out soon. The boss's orders? The Garganacl? Uh-oh. I can Super Rod the stage 1 back, which I think is fine. Yeah, I think this is fine. I can Super Rod the stage 1 back. I can take out this Dragapult knockout though, which is good. Let's see what we got. Artazon. I am gonna go ahead and use Super Rod. We're gonna get this, and honestly we only get those 2 back. And then we have the Salt in our hand. We have a rare candy prize, so I wouldn't mind another Swinub. I do have another Swinub in my deck, maybe? Oh no, I think I've been searching for all my Pokemons. I don't think I have anything. Oh, I have the Swinub in my deck. Okay, we'll use that instead of the Buddy-Buddy Poffin, I believe. What are we going to search for with Pidgeotto? I think I want to hold the Kieran, make them believe I don't have it. So maybe we'll get rid of a Pheasantipity. And then they'll be like, oh, he can do the full HP Dragapult, but literally does he know I can knock it out. Yeah, we'll do it like that. So I'll take my 2 prizes here. They could counter capture me, but again, no energies attached for turns, a little bit rough. Does Grand Tree help them? Not really, so I don't need to get rid of it. I'm not gonna Mammoth Haul or anything here. Yeah, we'll just do Rumbling March for the knockout. And then we'll see. Again, we have the Kieran, so they might not expect it. Hopefully a rare candy here would be nice too. The Piloswine is interesting. We can Kofu back a Piloswine and a Mamoswine for extra damage. Hopefully I don't draw into the Garganacl. Or I can just evolve the Garganacl first before I do the Mamoswine. Either way, I think I have game. I find it hard for them to knock out this. They need a knockout like this Salt, essentially. Not really. I could Kofu. Oh, but then if I Kofu, I can't Kieran. Yeah, so if they knock out the Salt, I would need another turn. I would need Kofu these back. Oh, they shuffled. Oh, okay. This is good for me. Again, oh, I'm so happy I didn't knock out my own Grand Tree. That would be fortunate. We got the Kieran. We got Grand Tree on both the Salt and the Swinub. This is game. This is game. They thought that the Dragapult does enough. But yeah, the Kieran here is super important for the Dragapult, so I'm super happy I added that to my deck. And yeah, that's game. Okay, this is a little bit of a better game. I'm happy that I was able to showcase this. We're gonna go ahead and get this. Again, very low energy count this entire game, but that's just how it is sometimes. Alright. We'll do that. And then we won't BM. We'll just do this for the extra 30 damage. And then that's the knockout. Alright. Well, that's a good game to end it on. Again, I've played too many games here that I shouldn't be playing. But we finally got a good win, in my opinion, and we'll end it there. So, yeah, again, yeah, the Mamoswine deck's pretty good. You just have to think about what Pokemon you're searching. Sometimes you brick. You don't have a lot of basics. And again, I think there's a lot of cards like that game. A Kling Clang would have been pretty useful. So there's just a lot of stuff. De-evolution also wrecks you a little bit. His de-evolution was a little bit greedy. I think he should have waited for endgame when he did a bunch of damage on my Mamoswines before he de-evolution. But they decided to de-evolution early, which I don't think is the best play. But indeed. So, thank you so much for watching Beautiful the Way You Are. And I'll catch you in another Trainer Blizzard video. Just a little bit of a fun Mamoswine deck. My take on Mamoswine here. With the Kofus, of course. Indeed.